Welcome back to the Algarve and a new series of videos I'm calling QuickTests, instantly identifiable, I hope, by this stopwatch logo in the thumbnail. See, sometimes I get the chance to ride a bike out of the blue. I hadn't planned it and I don't necessarily have the time to dive into all the details. But if you're interested in this kind of concise and to the point first impressions review, this one's on the Triumph Tiger 1200, then stick around. Now, it just so happens that I am in the market for a tall rounder, light adventure type bike to do the kind of long distance trips my Speed Twin wasn't really designed for. I would have preferred the Tiger 900 in GT guise, but Nuno at Triumph Algarve only had the 1200 Rally available. Okay, I'll go with the flow. It's quite an imposing bike, at least next to my Speed Twin, but parked next to the Triumph 900, the Tiger 900, it's not as big as all that. I still needed to use the left-hand foot peg to hoist my aging right leg over the back though, but once I was on it was fine. And with the standard seat in its highest position, I could comfortably flat foot both sides. I'm 6'2", 1m87. The bars seem very wide, too wide for the road in my opinion, but I believe on the GT version they are slightly narrower. Curiously, the seat didn't seem very long to me, if that makes sense. I wasn't exactly cramped, but being more used to the completely flat seat on my Speed Twin, I did feel slightly hemmed in by the Tiger's more sculpted twin cushion arrangement. Overall though, it's a comfortable place to be, and crucially I didn't get that top heavy feeling I have on many tall rounders, even coming straight from my super low speed Twin. With 148 horsepower on tap, acceleration is brisk, but this is a heavy bike at around 240 kilos wet, so it's not mind-blowing. Maximum torque of 130 Newton meters comes in at 7,000 RPM, so just as with the Speed Triple on which the engine is based, it offers rapid progress, but only once you've spooled it up. It doesn't feel as beefy as the 1200 in my Speed Twin, even though in a race or around a track it would undoubtedly be quicker. The Brembo Stylema brakes are as awesome as ever, though initial bite is softer than on the much racier Speed Triple, and there is noticeable fork dive even under modest braking. This is a common feature of tall adventure type bikes, and you do quickly get used to it. It doesn't compromise stopping distances, of course, but coming from the Speed Twin or the GS with its magic telelever setup, it does catch you unaware the first couple of times you squeeze the right hand lever. The dash is nice, easily readable, even in bright sunshine like we have here, and the layout is much more sensible than the unnecessarily fussy graphics on the 900, something I'm crossing my fingers will be corrected for the 2023 model. Switchgear is good quality, although I'm not a fan of the sticky out toggle joystick thing that you use to control a screen. Until muscle memory does its thing, it's too easily confused with the indicator switch. Wind protection was fine, better than on my Honda ADV for example, but I didn't get the chance to take the bike on higher speed roads. The semi-active suspension from Öhlins offered the typical plush ride. I don't know how they pull it off, to be honest. It offers the seemingly impossible perfect balance between sporty handling and comfort. I suppose that's why it's so expensive. The clutch lever was easy to operate, but I did feel the gear changes more than usual, despite trying to make them as smooth as I could. I think the best option is to use the quick shifter, which is one of the silkiest I've ever tried. Changes were almost imperceptible to such an extent that I sometimes found myself checking the gear indicator on the screen to see if the gearbox had actually changed gear. It was so smooth that I couldn't resist forcing it to change in unreasonable conditions, revs too low or too high, engine under load or not. Whatever I threw at the quick shifter, it coped, so well done Triumph for that. I was slightly surprised by the riding position. It's comfortable, but you are canted forward more than you are, say, on GS. I don't mind this coming from the sporty Speed Twin, and it's certainly not what you'd call wristy, but I was expecting a slightly more upright position with more of my weight on the seat rather than on the bars. I sat on the GT model in the showroom when I got back. For the sake of comparison, the GT has the 19-inch front wheel as opposed to the 21 that I tried on the Rally, and the riding position felt more or less identical, but the bars and overall size of the bike were more in line with what I'm used to, so I would almost certainly go for the GT model. Fuel consumption during the time that I had the bike was 4.7 litres per 100 kilometres, and scrolling through the menus I did notice that the overall average consumption on the bike was showing 4.9, although I've no idea when it was reset, of course. Impressive for a relatively heavy 1200, especially a demonstrator, as they tend to get ridden more enthusiastically. So, am I interested in buying the Tiger 1200? No, not really. The riding position is too canted forward for me to contemplate doing long distances, and I can't move backwards far enough on the seat. It's an unnecessarily large bike for what I want, and I'm not so sure I could really feel the 148 horsepower. If I had to guess, then I would have said it's got about 115, 120. And then there's the one huge negative that I haven't touched on yet, the noise. I don't know if it's the engine itself, this T-plane crank thing, the exhaust or the transmission, but there's no other way of describing the noise than clattery. It's almost like a diesel engine or a petrol engine that's got 250,000 miles on the clock. My Speed Twin 1200 or the BMW 1250 GS are buttery smooth in comparison, and as I'm very sensitive to noise, for me, unfortunately, it rules the Tiger 1200 out. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you've found these first impressions useful, and please remember this is a quick 5-minute review, so don't complain that I didn't discuss the tyre pressure monitoring system or I didn't take the bike off-road. That's just not possible in the time I had. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.